Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of For What It's Nerd. This weekend has seen D23, the Disney event, in which a lot of things were revealed, come and give us loads of information about a lot of different projects. Of course, there is a third day still happening yet to come after I'm recording this, but I'm kind of going to give an update on everything that we have right now, and then maybe if there's something worth reporting on thereafter, we'll do that as well. Now, today, to make sure we don't miss anything, I have kind of collated, well, not collated, I'm actually using Discussing Film. Discussing Film have some really good articles on this, but I've kind of picked up the majority of the stuff that's going to be that's being announced, and we're kind of going to go through it very quickly and lightly tap on each of them. Some of them will be sentence long, some of them will be a bit longer. So first off, Avatar, the third Avatar film was announced. I still haven't watched the second one, and I barely remember the first one, so Avatar is not something that I can necessarily discuss on right now. I do intend to change that in the future, so maybe I'll be up to speed by the time that movie comes out. Iron Ash. Monster Jam. I don't know. Oh, that's a Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie. He's going to be doing a monster truck movie, I believe, which is interesting, I guess. Moana 2 was also shown. Moana is becoming the leader of her tribe in this second movie, and also she has a sister, I believe, from what we saw of the footage. I'm not 100% on any other details at the moment, but we will be watching. I do remember that previously they said Lin-Manuel Miranda would not be doing this movie, so that leaves me a little bit interested as to what the musical score will be like for Moana 2, but we shall see. Oppositely, Mufasa, the Lion King, is being was shown, and that's being released at the end of this year, December 20th, and it takes a little bit of a spin on the classic. Shows Mufasa as an adopted member of the lion tribe that he is part of, and Scar as the rightful king, which will be interesting to see how that plays out, obviously with what we know of the original story. But yeah, that's as like a prequel to the Lion King. I'm interested in that one, I will admit. What I will say, though, is that Lin-Manuel Miranda is scoring this one, so perhaps the music in this one will be what Moana 2 might not be. There you go. Snow White was also shown. I haven't watched the trailer for this, admittedly, because I don't know if I'm particularly interested in this. There's been a lot of controversy around this movie, just in terms of not only its actual creation, but Rachel Ziegler, I believe, made a few comments that haven't sat well with people previously, and yeah, I don't know if I'm necessarily interested. I think Snow White has been done enough times in it already, and to greater effect. But yeah, Tron. Now, Tron is not something I've necessarily watched either, so we're going to leave Tron behind on that one. That is the majority of the releases for Disney themselves across their properties, apart from there was footage shown of the Lilo and Stitch live action that will be coming next year, and they showed Stitch himself, the kind of model they'll be using. I like Lilo and Stitch. I've always enjoyed that that universe. I used to love watching the Lilo and Stitch show, so I'll keep an eye on that for sure. The CGI didn't look too bad, to be fair. He looked pretty on point, considering it was, it's live action that I don't know if we necessarily need, but they're doing it, so we'll see what it's like. Captain America Brave New World. Now, we've discussed this a few weeks ago. I won't go into huge detail, but they did get a closer look at the Red Hulk. And from what I saw, because I have seen a clip of this, I don't know if we're meant to, it came through certain channels that, on Twitter, etc. So that's probably going to be taken down in the next day or so. But I'd say the Red Hulk model looked really good, so that's exciting in and of itself. I love Red Hulk. I'd point the figure right now, but I have my green screen up because I was doing a stream earlier, and I've just decided to just kind of jump straight into it for this episode of the pod. And next we have the Fantastic Four First Steps. This is the first, obviously, Fantastic Four movie in the MCU. The footage to me seemed like it's more conceptual from what I've understood. It looked a little bit like, I don't want to say AI, but it looks like, like those not like they did it with AI, but it looks like those like, do you remember when were doing like the Balenciaga and like those types of like AI pieces on TikTok, and then also more recently the dark fantasy? The way the camera moves on certain angles of this, it looked like that. It reminded me of that. I don't know if that's just my brain being warped or what. They also showed the new suit, which is more like the concept art that they showed. I like it, apart from I think there's too much of the white paneling on the suit. I wish the white paneling was like a collar thing, like the actual suits in the comics were, rather than like it comes to like for those watching this thing rather than watching. This is no good to you, but it comes to like here the white, and I don't know if I like that. I think the white would have been better as like a semicircle around the neck. If you want to know what I'm talking about, look it up, I guess. I'm kidding. We saw more of Agatha. Again, we've discussed Agatha a little bit previously, but I will say that we got a little bit more of Aubrey Plaza in this trailer that came out from the expo. Is it an expo? Is it con? The event. And yeah, I was very interested to see what her role is, because previously we've been told she was playing Morgan Le Fay. I don't think anything in that suggests that she's not, but it'd be interesting because it looks like she's with the group during this. So if she's the villain, she's with the group throughout the show, or at least a few of the episodes. So she's a villain in plain sight, very much like Agatha in WandaVision, or she's a villain that has to go along with the group for whatever reason, which would be an interesting take. It reminds me a little bit of Jessica Jones and Kilgrave's relationship in season 1 of Jessica Jones, funnily enough. Ironheart was next. Now, this one is one that we thought was maybe a project that was maybe killed already. So I'm very happy that it's not been killed. And essentially, it shows footage of Riri dealing with her life there after Wakanda Forever, and also shows, I think, Red Hood. Is that his name? I think it is, right? Yeah. I'm excited that this is like not revived, because I don't think it was dead, but I'm glad that we're getting some discussion as to what's happening with that. We don't have a release date yet, as far as I'm aware. No, we don't have a release date as yet, but it's coming. It's still in the process of being made, so I'm very glad about that. Alden Ehrenreich is going to be in this, as well as Anthony Ramos. So some good actors in this as well. So keeping an eye on Ironheart. I know some people weren't necessarily excited about this show. I am personally. I think it'll be fun. Daredevil Born Again. Now, of course, a lot of people have been keeping an eye on this one for a while. First off, it's already been renewed for a second season, which we're excited about. But even more so, White Tiger is going to be showing up in this, as well as the villain Muse, I believe, and obviously Kingpin returns as well as Frank Castle, John Bernthal's The Punisher. That is releasing in March next year, so sooner than perhaps we maybe thought. I'm looking forward to it. I think what they did with going back to the roots of what made the Netflix Daredevil show what it is will make this show all the better. And actually, the logo for this that they're now using, I hope they keep this one, because it looks really nice. Like it's got like the skyline in the letters of Daredevil, but then it looks like blood at the same time because of that. It's quite a good way of doing it. But yeah, I think that'll be really fun. Also, a surprise cameo from Kamala Khan's dad in this. So this show is really tying in some of that street level stuff for sure. Now that's the majority of the. Actually, it's not. That's the Marvel stuff for live action. We'll be coming back to Marvel with animation in a little bit, but I will go through quickly the Star Wars previews. Now, first off, we have Skeleton Crew, which is a show that's been going under the radar, especially considering it's coming out later this year. I believe. Yeah, I think so. I can't. Yeah, it's not showing its date here, but I believe it's coming out later this year. And this shows the kids, like a group of kids, basically wanting to get off planet and have an adventure, and get into loads of trouble, and end up meeting Jude Law's character, who apparently is a Jedi. I don't know if I believe that necessarily. I think he's going to have some kind of way of either manipulating the Force to look, manipulating objects or whatever to make him look like he is a Jedi, or he's some kind of rogue Force user, which either way would be interesting. And if he was a Jedi, I wouldn't be against that necessarily. This is a time where there are few Jedi, so it would be interesting to see if perhaps maybe or like, for example, there was a theory at some point that he might be Lor San Tekka. If he is, maybe he has some kind of artifacts or abilities baked into, like, equipment or whatever, or maybe it's not him, and actually what you find is in that scene. Now, I'm not saying this is a big jump, but in that scene that we see in the trailer where he does that, he pulls the keys towards him. It's not actually him. Maybe like Luke Skywalker's behind him or something like that. Now, of course, that's like wild speculation, but like something crazy like that would be insane, especially because Lawrence and Luke do have quite a strong relationship in some of the books, some of the tie-in material. One thing I will say about this show that I was not happy with from the trailer is the look of the planet that the kids come from. It looks far too like suburbia in the real world, and it took me way out of this experience, and I'm not excited about that. I'm not really happy about that. I hope that they don't keep doing this thing that a lot of media seems to be doing more and more, is taking these fantasy or slash fanciful worlds and making them more like ours. Like, I really hate it. It's the same reason I don't like a lot of like modern like names being used in fiction like this. Like, if someone's called like John showed up in Star Wars, I'd be taken out of the, like, I understand we have Luke, I understand we have other characters like that, but certain names just take you way out of that Star Wars feeling. And that was the same thing with the location in this one, and some of the clothing options as well, which has been happening a lot with other projects in the Star Wars mythos since Disney bought it out. It goes back and forth. Sometimes Disney do really well on this, and then sometimes they really don't. Andor 2 was shown as well. Now, every 3 episodes is going to take place over 4 years, I think. So, like, you'll have 3 episodes that take a year, then another 3, etc. K2SO is back, Director Krennic is back, and this will obviously go right up to Rogue One, as we already knew. We already knew that, really, but it's worth restating. And then perhaps the worst titled movie in history, Mandalorian and Grogu. And basically, there's some small footage being shown that includes Zeb from Rebels in this. And they look like they're on some kind of ice planet. Some people are speculating it's Hoth. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, but I'm not really going to focus too much on that right now because there's not really anything shown apart from that there's some snowtroopers as well, so there's some kind of resurgent empire still going on there. And Pixar, quickly, some of these are really exciting. I don't know, some of them are new, like newer stuff, but So Incredibles 3, I know some people didn't like Incredibles 2, but I'm actually excited for an Incredibles 3. I'm kind of glad that this franchise is getting revived because, there was only one for so long, and now we're going towards number 3. That's really exciting. There's this movie called Dream, which is in the Inside Out world. Dream Productions, sorry. I never watched Inside Out fully, be honest. So, and I've not watched Inside Out 2 at all. So that means little to me right now. But I know that obviously that movie has been grossing quite well. So I understand why they're doing that. Win or Lose is going to be a new show. Not really interesting to me. It's about a softball game or something. Great, good for them. Hoppers. Robot Beavers. Something about Robot Beavers. Cool for Hoppers, I guess. Elio, film that has a trouble start as Pixar 2 years back has found a new life that's announced, where alien life forms. I actually feel like I saw a trailer for this at some point, and that is still coming out. Cool for Elio. And then Toy Story 5, which obviously a lot of people are like, we're doing another one, but I think this could be interesting. It's the kind of mix between how do I put it? It's them trying to compete with technology, and also apparently there will be an army of 50 Buzz Lightyear toys stuck in malfunctioning play mode. So we'll see how that one turns out as well. Zootopia 2 is also coming, and Frozen 3 as well. Now, I haven't watched Zootopia 1, not gonna lie, but Frozen 3, I actually enjoyed Frozen 2 more than 1, so I shall keep bated breath on that one, see what happens with that. Now, all of those covered, we are going to go into Marvel Animation next. First off is What If Season 3. Now, perhaps the most controversial thing to come out with all of D23 is that this is the last season of What If. and I'm just astounded by that, to be honest, because I thought this show had so much potential, and I feel like they've only just hit the ground running. But they're finishing with season 3. Now, I think there's a reason for this. I think that what they're going to do is that the multiverse is going to close out with the end of Secret Wars, and I think that the multiverse is just basically going to be scrapped as a concept. Not scrapped entirely, of course, but like it's going to all be melded back into one universe. And I think that's why they're ending with What If Season 3, because there won't be a multiverse to explore come after that. X-Men 97 Season 2 has been announced. Now, this was naturally always going to be the case, but I believe they're going to be including a lot more characters in this one. And anything else? They're wearing the Grant Morrison suits this time round, which I've just read some of that arc recently. So that's exciting as well. Eyes of Wakanda. Now, I believe this is set in the the MCU. And essentially it is the War Dogs going out and keeping the secret of Wakanda from the general populace of the world. But yeah, so that sounds like it's going to be exciting. Yeah, Eyes of Wakanda will also be canon in the MCU, so it's nice to get a proper canon animation show, because What If is canon but not, you know? Also, we have the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show, which is let's read what they say here. The Spider-Man that you know, but maybe not the one you expect, teasing a story that diverts from the ones fans saw in the MCU trilogy of movies. That difference was expounded upon at the panel, with the key difference between Peter Parker in the series and the one in the MCU being Peter's mentor. Whereas he learned from Tony Stark and all of his mistakes and morals in the movie, it's Norman Osborn who mentors Peter in the show, and Osborn uses methods that some people find questionable. Coleman Domingo will be playing Norman Osborn in this. Yeah, I don't really know what I have much to say about that. We'll see when it comes out, but there's been talk of Nico Minoru being in this. There's a suggestion of a new origin with Doctor Strange and Venom being part of that origin for this Spider-Man. Now, I think that's probably going to be multiversal adjacent in some way. It almost feels like it might be related to that Peter Parker spell in in Spider-Man No Way Home, that one, with Doctor Strange and Venom obviously in the end credits. So I'm wondering if it's something related to that, maybe, potentially, who knows. And then Marvel Zombies, which is a 4-episode TV anime show, and it seems like the main characters are Jimmy Woo and Shang-Chi in this. Shang-Chi and Ironheart and Moon Knight will also show up in What If, by the way. Interesting for those characters to show up in other medium when they've only really been shown up once otherwise. So it'll be interesting to see those characters interact with the wider cast kind of earlier than they are in the actual movies, but that's another conversation for another time. But yeah, so that is going to be a 4-episode thing. There's been some references to Attack on Titan and Mad Max as regards some of the style in that, and the Skrulls involved as well. So we'll see how that goes. That sounds interesting in its own right. But yeah, that is the majority of the news out of D23 today. Now, we do still have the Lucasfilm animation panel, and I think we're going to get the announcement of the next animated show for Star Wars, but who knows? So you guys might see a short on that or something later. Who knows? Who knows? So anything could come out of that. We'll see. In the meantime, yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff coming out, a lot of interesting stuff. A lot of like cool release dates and cool movies. Oh, there's also Freaky Friday is getting a sequel in Freakier Friday, which I will admit I'm kind of interested to see what happens there. As a little like guilty pleasure from my childhood. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to come out, and some of it sounds like it's going to be bad, some of it sounds like it's questionable, you know, as is so usually the case. But we'll see where all this goes, and as usual, we'll report on most of it, if not all of it, as it comes out. So thank you guys as always for listening/watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.